Okay, here she is in all her glory. That brace is, I've never seen anything like that as far as damage goes, but I think we might actually have one, so that's good. Engine bay, some little mice droppings and such, but by and large, looks straight. Battery tray, what we typically do here is remove that because there's almost always rust under there of some nature. Anyway, we'll remove that and we'll replace it. Well, looks like we can reuse this one. But instead of spot welding it, we will mount it with bolts and riv nuts. So when you go to change the oil, you will thank us, because then you can take this whole thing out and have easy access to the oil filter and such. Otherwise, it's a royal pain. Yeah, I mean, that's really odd right there. You don't see these front fenders. I guess that might have been a repair or something, I don't know. A little bit of a crack. Somebody decided to remove the antenna with a crowbar, but it's doable. The good news is there's no rust along the window frame, top or bottom. You would think you wouldn't get any in the top, but I've seen plenty of them in that regard. Trim still needs to come off. We kind of had a bit of a discussion about the door handles. A few of these things are chrome. A few items are chrome. The trim is largely stainless, but stuff like this is chrome, so it's not in horrible shape, but it's not great. It's pitted, so we'll have to make some decisions there. Sorry, we're in here like sardines right now, so I can't really do a good job of looking at this thing. But obviously, we stripped out the interior for the most part. A couple things again still left to go. A couple of bolts for that. That'll go out easy enough. Good news. This panel oftentimes has got major rust, so that looks pretty solid. That side panel, that's just somebody glued on some sound deadening or something like that. I don't know what that is, but it's not metal, it's just paper. Floors don't look too bad, all things considered, with the exception of, again, looks like somebody decided to take on the transmission tunnel with a crowbar or something, so we'll have to deal with that. But otherwise, yeah, it looks pretty good. Bit of a pleasant surprise is there's a metal retainer. There's a metal retainer for the back of the convertible top, and almost all of these have, this is fasteners, the riv nuts for that hold those in, and those are almost always blown out and then sheet metal screws or something. But that's not the case with this, so that's good. Again, not seeing any serious rust back here. Nothing showing damage. These extra doors, I don't know what to think about that. I mean, this is junk. We just got to throw this out. Well, I won't throw it out unless you tell me to throw it out, but we have no value. There's no value in it. The lower valance isn't too bad. Still have to take the gas tank out. I would highly recommend that we replace that gas tank with a new one, unless there's some real sentimental value for you. There's your tires, by the way. At any rate, nothing can mess up a nice restoration than a gas tank that I know you can boil them, I know you can reseal them, quote unquote, but I've had more trouble with that than anything. I'd rather start out with everything nice and clean as far as the fuel delivery system, so we don't have to worry about any of that. Again, reasonably solid. Chrome not too great. You pulled these off, those were pretty bad. That's a chrome piece. There's some chrome caps here that obviously we've taken those off, but the aftermarket ones I'm not too crazy about. We might be able to have those re-chromed. Things like this, which are assemblies, that can get really pricey as far as re-chroming. But again, I've got my guy coming out next week to talk about primarily polishing stuff like the stainless, this kind of stuff. But we'll also be talking about re-chroming. Again, this looks pretty good. All along there. Mice or other vermin really enjoyed their stay here. Looks like they've been here for quite a while. Pretty good dent there. Dents, that kind of stuff. I'm not too worried about that. We'll pull those. We're not going to just fill them with filler. I don't know what I started writing something here. Me and a can of spray paint is a dangerous thing, but I don't remember what my intention was there. Lower valance, not too shabby. So like I say, body-wise, it's obviously not pristine, but I've seen far worse. And over here, I'm a little disappointed with this mess, but bits and pieces and such that came out of the car. My primary interest with my polisher next week is with the bumpers, because those are always potentially a tough item. This over here, I don't know if I can, this bar, I think is like a Nerf bar that I'm pretty sure was an aftermarket item or a dealer installed item. The intent, of course, was to prevent damage to the bumpers for a low speed hit. I would never put that on. To me, they look ugly as sin. I'd rather worry about getting hit than worry about looking at that every day. But it's there, and we'll look at it in terms of what it would take if you tell me you want it on there. We'll try to determine how to do that. I assume it was on there before, so I also would assume then that it will go back on. You can see that's the turn signals and the tail lights are readily available through the aftermarket, but they're also pretty much junk. I really, really hate dealing with them. And so it might behoove us to be looking for new old stock, or at least old stock that's in good shape. It's just tough because I mean, honestly, this is in fairly good shape, sadly enough. Taillight housing, the plastic just disintegrates over the years and they get cracked, and the yeah, it's just generally a mess. The lenses themselves are, aftermarket ones are okay, but it's the housing that becomes the problem. There's your heater. Obviously, we'll restore that. With all great intentions, I wanted to get the rest of the suspension stuff out for blasting and powder coating, but that hasn't occurred yet. And by the way, you were asking about the shocks, restoring the shocks. These are not original shocks, so I would not recommend the time and money associated with doing something with that. But anyway, there's your diff, the trunnion and stuff. The good news is that you have ATE brakes, not Dunlops. Dunlops, I'm not a fan of. It's a lot easier to deal with. The ATEs. Parts readily available, and they're generally much better condition. That's where we're at. So onward and upward, like I say, I'm hoping to get to seeing To the Blasters next week, and then they'll take their sweet time to get it done, but that's okay.